Hello everybody, I'm Iggor Cavalera.
Max Cavalera, we are returned to roots.
And you're watching Impact
TV, stay metal. Ah! I think pioneer, probably a good word for it, because it's kind of a pioneer album. You know, it's one of a kind. First time to mix tribal elements like that in a record, you know, and still be real heavy. But we had the tribal, the song with the Chavantes tribe. You know, that's never been done before. So I think.
Yeah, that's for me. That's a correct word for it, because all the other words can be in any of our other records, but this one particularly, I think the pioneer sense on it is really strong.
Yeah.
Well, listening not that much. I don't listen. I don't go back too much on our records. You know, like sometimes I do it, but not all the time. I don't listen to our stuff. But performing, I have to say that playing the whole record from back to back, beginning all the way to the end, it's such a really special. It makes me like the album even more than listening, because performing, even when you do an album and you don't perform all the songs from it, when we usually do on a tour, we have to squeeze all our history into one show. But at this time, by doing something special like this, I have to say that now I have even more respect for an album that we did than before we started this tour. It's quite strange in a way how it's such a special record, you know.
Yeah, I think, you know, like Igor said, we had to dice, kind of like go song by song for this tour, you know, because the idea is to play the whole thing. And it was a challenge first, man. I even thought, man, how are you gonna do that? This album is so crazy. It's got this weird percussion parts, you know. That's like, how the hell are we gonna do that? But we figured out. Me talking to Igor, you know, he's got a really good machine that to recreate some sounds. And I played the berimbau on the beginning of Attitude. We do a drum jam on Ambush, you know, and we play Look Away with some noises from the original record, and it's Sorry Igor does just with the drums. And I agree, I have a lot more respect for Roots now than I think when we did it. Because when we did it, like, people ask, you know, did you guys knew you were doing such a classic album? So like, nah, you know, we were just wanted to make a good record. You know, we were in the studio just trying to make the best album we can make, but nobody is in the studio thinking, oh, we're creating a classic. That doesn't even cross our minds, you know. So, which I think is the best way to make a classic, is when you're not thinking you're making one.
Yeah. It is, for sure, especially on the percussive side of it. We're supposed to have this berimbau player and massive percussionist, the guy who could play any instrument, called Naná Vasconcelos, which he passed away last year, unfortunately. But I remember me and Max talking about him, because he's kind of like, at the time he was kind of like a Jimi Hendrix on the berimbau, like an instrument that for us it's such a unique thing. And then because he was touring at the time, he couldn't make it to the schedule. We had Carlinhos Brown, but the first idea was to have Naná Vasconcelos, which unfortunately didn't happen. But then again, it's also, you know, working with Carlinhos Brown was amazing. He was really such an open-minded guy. He taught us a lot of stuff too, like percussive-wise. Then again, not only a percussion, he could grab any instrument and play, and also with the vocal lines with Max. So it was very special to have him. But I remember at the time, me and Max going like, man, this guy, shit, you know.
I don't know why we couldn't get him. I don't think we couldn't get a contact or something.
No, I think the same way you did with Roadrunner, but he already had tours and stuff,
Oh,
so
yeah,
he couldn't come
commitment.
to the studio the same way that Carlinhos Brown did, which was come and spend some time with us writing.
But yeah, I mean, I think the album turned out the way it's supposed to. You know, I think Carlinhos Brown was perfect for Rata Mahata.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because it's such a it was a jam song. You know, if you think about even in a context, Rata Mahata is only one riff all the way through the whole song, one riff. So it's a real jam. You know, just it's born of a jam.
Yeah.
And we turn a jam into a song pretty much, and we just throw some Brazilian folklore lyrics about some Brazilian characters, and you know, just a real fun. And now playing Rata Mahata live now, it's amazing. The energy of it, everybody jumps and sings with us. It's a really good tune. Came out really good. So we're happy with all the collaborations and Roots. You know, I think was perfect. You know, I love. Working with John and Mike was great. Mike, we're such a big fans of Patton and Fate No More. I have huge respect for all the projects. You know, Mr. Bungle, me and Igor are huge fans of Mr. Bungle. And, you know, Mike, you know, we did 2 songs with Mike actually. We did Look Away and Mine, which was on the B-side, which is a crazy song. You know, so it was a lot of fun. The recording of Roots was a great experience.
Wow,
That's a good question.
yeah, I mean, of course, we would love to, if we had a chance to experiment with some people, it would be amazing to, I don't know, in that level of going deep into percussion and things like that. I don't know, like it's maybe in an atmosphere side of production. I would love one day to work with this guy called John Carpenter, who writes a lot of horror movies soundtracks. He's a really cool producer, really raw, but I don't know if it would fit with something like Roots itself, maybe, depending on the track, but I don't know. Nowadays there's so many people that inspire us too, that even like younger people and things like that.
I can imagine Gojira, for example.
Yeah, they're all, you know, friends of ours. You know, we actually worked with Joe on first Cavalera, you know, and it was great. You know, Joe,
Great guy.
a lot of cool ideas, and he was happy to be part of that record. And we actually ended up using one of his riffs on Ultraviolence, which was great. You know, it had that Gojira, you know, feeling to it. So, you know, I think the collaborations that we did so far, also on Cavalera Conspiracy, it's been great. You know, having guys like Roger from Agnostic Front, for me, is like the kind of godfather of New York hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, huge respect for the guy, and I just love the, you know, that we work together, and you know, so we'll see who we're gonna have on our 4th album, which is coming in the future. You know, but it's been really good. Well, it was a little bit complicated for us to get the logistics right, because it's a real big idea, you know, and we always loved these crazy ideas, because, you know, on Chaos AD, we did Kaiovas, which was a tribal song about a tribe that commits suicide. We recorded in a castle in Wales, you know, so it's like complete nuts, right? A Brazilian band recording a tribal song in a castle, you know. We always attracted to these crazy ideas, you know. I think it was like part of our thing, you know. It was like the crazier the better, you know. So I think when I came up with the idea to go to the tribe, which was after watching a movie called At Place in the Fields of the Lord, I had the idea to go to the tribe. Took a lot of you know, involving people like Angela from the Tribal Affairs in Brazil. People from Roadrunner helped us. You know, we had to rent planes and 8-track recorders that were operated with batteries, you know. It was a big production, you know, but I think it was great. It was 3 days there. We spent time with them, and I think we learned a lot from those 3 days. Spiritually, it was amazing experience.
I don't know, like for me the coolest thing about the Chavantes is the way they accepted us to come in,
Yeah.
and do music with them. They were very open-minded, and they in any moment they had any critics against what we were doing or the way we looked or anything like that. So I think that was a lesson to see that people who are live in their own world pretty much, isolated from a lot of things, and they can still be super open-minded. So it's not an excuse for some people say like someone who's not experienced the world can be racist or have any kind of prejudice. So for me that was a big lesson, the way they treated us there. Like, and to be honest, we exchanged a lot of ideas with them, and for me that was like, it was, to be honest, it was a bit hard coming back to society in general. It was like, it felt so good to be there, and it was like, wow, it was such a good feeling to be there.
Yeah, I was amazed by the rituals and the painting. You know, being painted by them, which was really deep. I remember the guy that painted me was like 90 years old, and he was painting, like spitting in his coconut ball with a little bit of paint, but you don't get grossed, you know, because it's from his spit. He's painting you with his spit, but it's super pure, you know, and like magical, you know, and very, very spiritual. I think the rituals that we witnessed there, how they make their music, too, they dream about their songs. That's another thing that really interested me, you know, how they create the songs all coming from dreaming, which is kind of like the Aboriginals of Australia, you know. So it's fascinating culture, and you know, it was 3 days that I will remember forever, for the rest of my life. It was amazing, you know.
Well, the thing for me especially, they didn't have any drums in the tribe. It's all about singing, and they put some stuff on their body so make some noise, but they don't actually drum. So as a drummer, I had a lot of freedom to write a drum piece to whatever they were singing. So I didn't really learn drum-wise. Like if I went to an African tribe and had to learn a new pattern, for me that would be a challenge. In Brazil, it was more about trying to put my style on what they were singing.
Yeah.
So for me that was really special. But again, of course, I learned on how to give space, and I when I hear Itzari, I feel really, really good on how I didn't overdo my drums. It was like more like a background. I didn't try to do more than I supposed to. I really like the combination of both, you know.
Yeah, I think now all Shabanta's music has no drums, and now when you listen to Itzari, Igor put drums on it, so it's very special now.
Yeah.
Very special, you know. So I think when I listen to it, we even use pieces of the Itzari for the intro of the show, and the outro when we're walking out. It's always on this Return of the Roots tour, we're using that.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful. I love the combination of the Shavantes singing and chanting with Igor's drumming. It's like they're made for each other, you know, so it was awesome. I think respecting nature, you know, they love nature and they respect nature. They don't destroy nature like we do. They don't abuse nature like we do, you know. We don't have no respect for nature. We are destroying the planet, you know, and they don't do that, you know. So I think you can learn just by that, you know.
There was even an episode that we had to eat some meat there, and I asked the guy what kind of meat it was, and he said it was some kind of like a wild cat or something from the forest. And I asked what kind of meat usually they eat, and they say like the only meat they are allowed to eat is the meat of an animal that can fight back or can run for their life. So they're not allowed to eat a cow or some animal that's just sitting there. It has to have a fight, so their spirit is still alive. So even that I learned. I was like, wow, even the way they deal with their hunting is respectful.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Yeah, for me, I give a lot more that than to a vegetarian guy who does that, but then again does a lot of drugs, or you know, whoever abuses on other stuff. So all those things are very deep, you know.
I like a lot, you know. I like a lot of different ones. You know, I got to know. I still have a lot to learn more.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by old Sumerian, Babylonian, Persian culture. You know, it's really. I think it's really amazing. Like even visually, you know, the visuals are really amazing and great. You know, and there's of course there's always. I like a lot of the Maoris from New Zealand. The tattoos are amazing, you know. Africa's got a lot of, you know, you have the Tuareg people, you know, that lives in the desert, you know. So yeah, the world is full of it, you know, full of amazing
there's so
cultures.
much. There's so much cool stuff that we still have to learn about it. And the cool thing about researching, it's open your mind for more and more. As a musician, I try to do as much research as I can especially with drums and percussion and sounds. So I'm always looking for new stuff. I never stop learning.
Good question. Yeah, I think I would have probably liked the see a little bit of the Babylonian Empire myself. That would have been cool.
I'm not sure. It's such a tough, you know, question, because again, in my way of seeing, it's the whole history of humanity is being struggle. You know, it's not like it was better or worse. You know, like whatever we say today, how messy the world is, we're probably gonna say the same thing. You know, we know it's getting worse and worse, but it's always negative and positive. So for me, I don't know if I would enjoy that much going back. You know, like for me, this is what I'm living right now. It's important.
A couple, I think, would have been interesting. I think like Alexander the Great would have been cool. Or in Brazil, we have this slave that's really famous called Zumbi. He freed a lot of the slaves in Brazil and created colonies, slave colonies, the Quilombo, the Palmares, and Quilombos all across Brazil. He would, I would have liked to meet him too, you know. So that would have been cool. Musically speaking, I think I probably would have liked to meet Bob Marley, of course, and probably Jimi Hendrix. And I don't know about Igor. Igor probably has some picks.
Yeah. I mean, in history, there's so many cool names that it would be great to have a chat.
Bon Scott.
Yeah, in music, there's so, like, of course, you know, as a massive drum fan, John Bonham would be good to have a chat with him, and also I would love to see how the raw power that he would put on his drums. Like, that's, for me, that's what drumming is about. So yeah, so there's a lot of people. I know the minute I finish this interview, I'm gonna remember like 100 names. So I mean, we do have in Brazil, we do have a positive attitude. That's for me. That's very. I was just in Turkey. I could see like the people there also. They have a very like friendly, positive thing, which I think in Brazil in general we do have that. We are kind of people that are very acceptable of other people, and for me that's important. Of course, like, when we talk about politics and things like that, it's a lot of negative things that comes to my mind when we talk about Brazil. But the people itself, I think it's really, I like the vibe of Brazilian people. Like, every time I go there, I'm hanging out, I feel super comfortable. I like the way people communicate with each other in a day-by-day basis, very open and very, sometimes like loose, and that's kind of cool, you know, in that sense.
Yeah, I think like also I think Brazilians are kind of people that had to adapt to adversity, you know,
Yeah.
because we're a third world country. The only South America country that speaks Portuguese, so we are different from the rest of our neighbors, you know, and Brazil always been a different kind of place, you know. I think historically and naturally talking is a beautiful, beautiful place. You know, you have so many amazing in the north. You know, you have like it's just beautiful paradise kind of places and real mystic places too. So it's definitely an amazing country to see for people to see. I put that in my book. Also, I love to more people to come visit Brazil and discover the beauty of the country. You know, so but I think it's the people that have to learn to live with adversity and make something out of nothing. I think there's a beauty on that. You know, you have nothing, but you make something out of it and survive. You know, and I think that's kind of like what we did. You know,
Yeah.
we were pretty much, you know, street kids with no money, and we had music, and we grabbed onto music, and we made something out of completely nothing.
Yeah.
We made something.
No support at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did something with our lives. You know, and we created an amazing, family and culture, and we put the name of Brazil in the map of metal world that was never like that before. So those things I'm very, very proud of those things that we did, you know. Well, before we were born, it was military, you know, military rule and dictatorship, but we never really got to see that much because we were little, very, very little.
We only got to experience the tail end of which was like still the police harassment of
Right.
the way you look and things like that, but not as serious as it was a few years back, where people just
Get in exile.
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff, you know.
they will disappear because the police will think they have some political ligaments with whatever by the way they look, like hippies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we didn't catch that much, but still it was some tough times there.
Police was always being
Yeah.
scary there. Yeah. Joke. It was two weak candidates, you know. I think both sides. I think the Democratic, you know, had somebody who was trying to, but had a history of untrusting kind of stuff, and you know, the other side, we have Trump, which is the biggest joke ever. You know, the guy's a liar and corrupt. It's not a.
Yeah.
I don't know. He has really screwed a lot of people in his lifetime, and I think he's gonna do a lot of bad stuff. You know, so I don't know that the way that country's heading now doesn't look good. You know, and there's a lot of anger, and you know, it's bad. I think it's gonna be some tough 4 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because I think Obama was a really good president. You know, people don't give him too much credit, but he did a lot of great stuff. You know, he's
As a person, also, I
Yeah.
really respect him.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, I have no respect at all for Trump. Like,
right.
as a person, for Obama, even for Hillary, no matter how bad things got, I know she can carry conversation with some other people. Where
Yeah.
this guy, I don't know. Like, for me, the biggest mistake was letting him get to run. They shouldn't even let, with the history he had, he shouldn't be allowed to be running for president. And look where we are right now. So it's sad times, I think.
Yeah.
It's for me. I look at it. It's the whole world. It's crazy right now. You know, first with the whole thing with Brexit, where it seems like it sends for me like a complete wrong message of closing things and going a bit right wing on keeping to yourself. which for me that's not the way I like to look at the world. And then of course the terrorist attacks, it's something that we need to live with it right now. And all the way to the US elections, it's like it's a whole chaos, you know, like chaos everywhere. And to add to that, in Brazil also we have like super chaotic situation where they couped the president. They did a massive scam to get this other guy in who's also super corrupt. So it's like it doesn't look good anywhere I look.
The best thing I think we can do as people and musicians is actually play in places like Turkey, like was a great example. I think we were like the second show they had there in 6 months, because they had a lot of problems, you know. They had terrorist attacks and stuff like that, you know, and the people were hungry for that, and we were not afraid to go there and play for them, you know. So I think, you know, that we have to do more of that, you know. You have to go back and play. I think in times like that, music is something that people can really use for expression, for anger, for let all their feelings out, you know. So I think it's very important. I think it's very important for us to go to those places. Don't stop. I think if we stop, that's how terrorist wins. You know, if we don't go, if we start canceling shows, not going to places because we're scared, you know, that's the worst that can happen. So I'm very proud that we went there. We did the show, and it's great, you know. And of course, it doesn't solve the terrorist problem, which I think is like very ignorant. People killing in the name of religion, which is insane, you know. The fanatical aspect of the Islamic terrorist is completely insane, you know, and we have to live with, you know, we are in the world, but as musicians, I think it's our duty to play more.
Don't stop, yeah.
To don't stop, and keep doing what we're doing, and giving people, you know, kind of hope and kind of a tool for them to deal with their anger and all their feelings they're feeling, you know. Yeah, we're gonna do one sometime in the future. We're gonna hopefully spend some time on pre-production, so we get to do something special, get a really good producer involved, and make it a real amazing record, you know. Next year I had to work on a new Soulfly record also, with my son Zion playing drums, and I'm gonna work on that a little bit. We have one Roots tour scheduled for February in America, and we'll see after that what we're gonna do, but hopefully keep busy, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, man, those kind of questions, huh?
Okay. I can say favorite that comes to my mind. I know I'm gonna change in 10 minutes, but I'll go, of course, the first Black Sabbath, Dead Kennedys, I would say Bad Time for Democracy, Chico Science and Nação Zumbi. It's a Brazilian band, where their album Da Lama ao Caos. It's an amazing record. The first Kraftwerk. I'm really into crazy electronic stuff. And Quickness by Bad Brains. Those are the first that came to my mind. Not saying it's top of all. I know I have a lot more, but
I'm gonna go with Black Sabbath Sabotage, you know, just because of the riff of Symptom of the Universe. I think it's the best riff ever written. Second one, I'm gonna go with Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales. For me, it's an amazing black metal, death metal kind of record. Third, I think the best thrash album, I think, is Exodus, Bonded by Blood. I think it's a great combination of thrash perfection. Fourth is gonna be a little bit more weird, into different kind of music that I like. Dead Can Dance. They have this album called Spirit Chaser. It's an amazing, full of great percussion and stuff like that. And then fifth, I'll go with Discharge here. See nothing. No, what is it? Hear nothing, see nothing, say nothing. Yeah. Just a wall of guitars. It's an amazing wall of guitars, and everybody that likes thrash should listen to Discharge, old shit, because it's great. Oh yeah, I love. It'd be cool to have Gojira, Triptychon, newer young blood like Full of Hell, Code Orange, Nails. Some classics like Creator, Sodom.
It would be cool also to see some people do some different weird stuff with our music. Maybe like, I don't know, someone, like The Prodigy doing a cover with some electronic stuff, or even SOAX, or I don't know, go even crazier and having, like some tribal drumming version with like I said, Nação Zumbi doing a cover. So things like that for me would be cool to see it. Yeah. And also the stuff that Max mentioned.
Be happy with what you're doing, and enjoying family and friends. The company of family and friends. I think that's, for me, that's it. That's the meaning of success, actually.
Yeah. For me, it's PMA, positive mental attitude. If you have that with your family, with your music, with your friends, some people can even win diseases, cancer, and things by having a mental. Because I think once you go too dark in your mind, you lose it. So I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you. We
Thanks.
love Hungary. I think it's gonna be an amazing show. We're so happy to be here, and we're gonna give it all 1,000% on the stage tonight.
Obrigado.
All right.